Time to Be a Hero. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. I want to thank everyone who watched the Comic Hero Tea of the Week yesterday. If you haven't, then you don't necessarily have to before you watch this, because all I talked about was the shirt that I'm going to be wearing in this week's episode, and this is part of my salute to higher education, Louisiana. This is an LSU-themed Comic Hero Tea, and this is something I'm doing all summer long. I still have 11 more schools to go. I've already done ULM and LSU. I haven't decided what school I'm going to be paying salute to in next week's episode, but but I'll let y'all know. Now, I gotta ask, any questions? Alright, I have two questions by the same person. It's by James Muse. He asks, do you think that by having so many comic book related shows like Gotham, Daredevil, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agent Carter, and all the recent movies, do you think that will drive less diehard fans crazy? If it drives them crazy, they should be ashamed of themselves. Besides, it's never enough. You have to think about it this way. We have had a whole bunch of successful comic book related movies and TV shows for the last 15 years. I mean, it all got started with the first X-Men movie that came out back in 2000, and it's just been all uphill since then. I think, yeah, but of course Marvel has done so much better than DC. I mean, DC has done 5 movies, and only about 3 of them were successful, and those were the Batman movies. Now, Superman Returns, I kind of wish I didn't see that. And then Green Lantern, you know, it was a bit lackluster, although it was a great cast. Great cast. A great director out of Martin Campbell, but I just didn't like the movie in terms of the script. But Marvel, of course, again, Marvel has been doing absolutely nothing but killing it. I mean, after all, they even have their own studios, whereas DC does not. They have to hinge on Warner Brothers, which is nothing. There's nothing wrong with that, considering that both DC and Warner Brothers are both owned by Time Warner and have been since 1989. But anyway, yeah, definitely. And like I said, if it drives them crazy, they should be ashamed of themselves. Now, he also asked, have you read Batman the Killing Joke? No, I haven't. would you recommend it? And what do you think happened in the last frame? Well, James, I haven't read Batman the Killing Joke. I would recommend it. As a matter of fact, since you mentioned it, I'm going to read it myself. I'm going to find it, buy it, and then read it, because it was such a great it was such a great story. I mean, I think that was the sickest Joker's story I've ever read, right in front of Death of the Family. I haven't read Death in the Family, and I haven't read The Killing Joke, but I heard it was amazing. Now, I've never read it, but I do know that the Joker shoots Barbara Gordon in the spine and paralyzing her. That's the only thing. That's the only thing I know that happened in it. But since you mentioned it, James, I am going to buy that book and I'm going to read it. Besides, when that book came out, when The Killing Joke came out, it was a little before my time. I was only probably about like 7 or 8 years old when it came out, and I didn't really get into comics until 1992 when Superman was killed by Doomsday. And but yeah, I'll have to look into that. All right, that's it for any questions. Now then, my good friend Brian Ferguson has requested that Deadpool and the Red Hood do battle in a segment I like to call DC versus Marvel. Hulk smash! Welcome to DC versus Marvel. Today it's the Red Hood versus Deadpool. The Red Hood is an excellent acrobat and marksman, and a deadly hand-to-hand combatant, and has access to high-caliber weaponry. Deadpool possesses a regenerative healing factor, superhuman strength, speed, extended longevity, and stamina. He's also a master artist, swordsman, and marksman. Who would win? It's kind of obvious who would win. Deadpool would just toy around with the Red Hood and lead him to believe he's not worth fighting. He would also allow Red Hood to punch, kick, shoot, and cut off his limbs. Only seconds after the Red Hood walks away, Deadpool quietly reattaches his limbs and uses superhuman speed to charge after the Red Hood, stabbing him in the heart. He immediately starts singing the lines from Princess of the Universe by Queen. I am immortal! I have inside me blood of kings! I have no rival! No man can be my equal! Deadpool wins. And that concludes this DC versus Marvel fight. I hope you enjoyed the DC versus Marvel, and of course we all knew Deadpool was going to win anyway, because he's Deadpool and he can't die. Unless somebody, well, that is unless somebody extracts the healing factor from him, which isn't that easy. I mean, I still don't know how Wolverine ended up without a healing factor before he died. But anyway, coming up is Comically Speaking. So without further ado, let's talk comics. Okay, now I just read Secret Wars number 3. Now what happens is that we find out that the of course, Secret Wars is pretty much talks about the death of both the original Marvel Universe and the Ultimate Marvel Universe when they collided into each other. And out of this collision comes a world that's basically ruled by Doctor Doom, or as they like to call him, God. As to why, I really don't know. But now, with the exception of a few characters, them being the Cabal. The Cabal consists of Thanos, the Black Swan, Maximus, who is Black Bolt's brother, and Namor the Submariner. They survived. Oh, we also find out in Secret Wars number 3 that the Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales had actually hitched a ride on that ship with them. And then we find out that in number 3 that some of the other characters that that were left unscathed were Mr. Fantastic, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, the Peter Parker Spider-Man, and a few others. And then when they finally found out like what happened, well, they found out that some of the characters that weren't on a ship, they were drastically changed, almost to the point where they don't remember anything that happened prior to the two universes colliding with each other. And and Doctor Strange is now the sheriff of Doom World. No, I mean rather the sheriff of Agamotto. And he tells, well, Strange that is, tells Mr. Fantastic that that about Doom ruling a world called God, and he's like, "Are you nuts? Why the heck would you let that happen?" Oh, and not only that, we also find out that Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, he's no longer the Human Torch, he's the Human Sun. He is now the sun that rises and sets on Doom World. And all because he quote unquote betrayed Doom. And then we also get to, and for the first time in 54 years, we finally find out what Dr. Doom looked like without his mask on. And let me tell you, not a pretty sight. Not at all. I would rather see even more awful things than that. But yeah. Oh, and I just read Amazing Spider-Man: Renew Your Vows. Now, this is pretty. Now, last week I said it was, in a way, it was kind of a what-if story. Like, in this one, Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson are married. They have a daughter named Annie, who they named after Mary Jane's Aunt Anna. And he finds out that all the costume characters in New York were all murdered. And the Avengers, led by Captain America, were trying to round up just about anyone left and make them Avengers on the spot, including Spider-Man. And they find out that someone had, that there was an explosion at the prison, and all the prisoners that had escaped, including the one person Spider-Man was hoping wasn't going to, and that's Venom. And when I mean Venom, I mean Eddie Brock. And who does he go after first? Mary Jane and Annie. Well, Spider-Man, of course, takes care of business, wipes them out. But then there are some other things that are going to happen. As a matter of fact, Amazing Spider-Man: Renew Your Vows is the Secret Wars miniseries. And and speaking of Marvel, next month there's going to be a previews book that's going to come out that's going to let us all know what the Marvel Universe is going to look like post Secret Wars, and I'm so looking forward to that. And by accident, I found out that a Marvel character who's been around since the Marvel Universe's humble beginnings is going to be a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not going to say who it is, but let's just say there's a time and a place for everything. Okay, that's it for Comically Speaking. Oh, by the way, if you have any suggestions for Comically Speaking, any at all, there's the contact info down there, and also questions for DC versus, questions for any questions, and then requests for DC versus Marvel. Remember, it has to be a DC character against a Marvel character. Yeah, how astute. All right, so then let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
All right, first up is Red Hood and Arsenal #1. This is the new Red Hood series, or the new series that DC has. Now, there used to be a series right before Convergence started called Red Hood and the Outlaws that starred Red Hood, Arsenal, and Starfire. But now, you know, Starfire has pretty much gone off. She's out on her own, and which leaves these two knuckleheads together. And I read their book, and let me tell you, it's a whole bunch of misadventures of a bunch of guys who like to go out, a bunch of mercenaries, basically. Although in the original DC universe, Red Hood was, but Arsenal not so much. All right, up next is Silk number 5. Now, in this one, Silk and Spider-Man go on a team up to stop the Black Cat. Now, keep in mind that when Silk made her debut in the Amazing Spider-Man, before, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Silk was bitten by the same radioactive spider that bit Peter Parker. And they share a chemistry. And when I mean chemistry, that is when they come within a few feet of each other, they can't stop kissing each other. Well, they after Spider-Verse, they kind of went their separate ways, and Silk, whose real name is Cindy Moon, was in some kind of lab for about most of her life, and now that she's gone out and back out in the world, she's now an intern over at the Fact Channel that's run by J. Jonah Jameson, and she doesn't like the idea of J. Jonah Jameson referring his masked characters as menaces, no more than Spider-Man does. And as of late, she's actually been on a date with the Human Torch. Up next is Batman Superman number 21. This is Batman and Superman have their own book. I haven't been reading this, but what I can tell you, this is part 2 of a story arc called Truth that kicks off in kicked off in Action Comics number 41. And I don't know why the radio just went out. I mean, it's been doing that off and on since I got here. I have nothing to do with it, folks, I promise. But anyway, this features the brand new Batman, who I will tell you who it is in just a few minutes because I have the first issue of his book. All right, next up is Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps number 1. This is a Secret Wars miniseries, and it talks about Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. You know, she's also Captain Carol Danvers. She's Air Force, and she has her own ragtag gang of fellow fighter pilots. All right, next up is Spider-Verse number 2. This is another Secret Wars miniseries that's out, and it's just when you thought it was over in the Amazing Spider-Man, it's back, and very thrilled about it. I mean, it doesn't necessarily star our Peter Parker, but it also stars, you know, some of the fan favorites from the miniseries, like Spider-Gwen, Spider-Ham. The Spider-Man who's a member of the Captain Britain Corps, and I think May Parker is also in there. Now, May Parker is Spider-Girl from another Marvel timeline. All right, next up is Spider-Woman number 6. Of course, this Spider-Woman is Jessica Drew, the original Spider-Woman, and she's been, ever since she returned to New York, she's faced a few misfortunes, and if it doesn't get, and the thing is that just when you think that's bad, Ben Urich is on her case too. All right, next up is Detective Comics number 41. This is the first issue of Detective Comics after Convergence, and it's gone into a different direction. This one mainly stars all the Gotham City Police Department, and it mainly centers around characters like Harvey Bullock and Commissioner Gordon, or should I say, and while I'm thinking about that, lastly, Batman number 41. In this one, there's new Batman that debuts, and it is none other than Commissioner James Gordon. And he becomes Batman as a result of what happened in the Endgame. Now, everyone says that the Bruce Wayne Batman got killed off. I'm not buying it. You can't kill him. I mean, it's been attempted, but he's not going to stay. He's not going to stay gone. I don't believe it. All right, that's 7 I bought, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 6,845. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and of course, y'all see all the get-up that I have. This is part of my summer-long salute to higher education in Louisiana, and if you want your own LSU themed comic hero tee, like the one I'm wearing, it's the same as in the Indiana tee. I do make tees for folks, and I have, and I will. The prices for adults are $12, but if you want to buy the shirt and give it to me to make, then it's $10 and that tee. Now for children, it's $7, but if you want to buy the shirt, it's the shirt and $5. And I haven't really decided on what the next college is going to be next week. Now, last week in episode 66, obviously it was ULM, the college I'm currently enrolled at, and I decided on LSU at the end of last week. So far, because there's 13 weeks this month, next month in August, I've selected 13 schools. You know, I'm just going to go ahead and say this, because there's going to be at least one person that's going to be that person and do this. If there comes an episode where I'm wearing a comic hero tee and a hat of a college that you don't like, get out of your feelings about it. Because this isn't about sports, this isn't about rivalries and any other garbage like that. It's about education. I mean, it may seem like it is with what I wear, but no, it isn't. It isn't about sports at all. And also, any questions for the Any Questions segment, contact info's down there. Request for the DC versus Marvel, and then if there's a topic you want me to talk about in the Comically Speaking top segment, then please let me know. And with that in mind, I'm Victor Nutley. I'm the Comic Hero. See you right back here at Clint's Comics next week for episode 68. Till then, I'm going to go ahead and buy these books. Till then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero, and go Tigers! Okay, now I just got finished reading. What did I just get finished reading? Dang it!